Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. Glad you could join us. Today in Great Guitar Solos, we're going to be focusing on the solo for Let It Be. But which solo are we talking about? Because there are 3 solos that are officially recorded for this song. The singles version, the album version, and what became known as the naked version. Don't know why I got that title. But today we're going to focus on the singles version. All 3 solos are just 8 bars long, so not particularly long. They all have shared thematic elements, but that's more attributable to George Harrison's style and approach to soloing than anything else. So, the singles version today. All right, so let's get to it. And be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. And remember, down in the description is a link to patreon.com, Outsmart Your Guitar. Click on the link. Go on over, join for free, sample the lessons, and then come on board as a full patron, joining at one of 3 levels. You'll be glad you did. All right, well, let's get to the lesson. First things first, the progression, of course, over which you'll be playing. So, in essence, it's just very simple. C, G, A minor, F. And that's it. Now, the strum pattern's pretty straightforward. And then you just start all over again. Okay? So pretty cool stuff there. So what you do, learn this, get it smooth and flowing, put it to a metronome, and then record it into your looper at 76 beats a minute. That's the tempo of the song. All right? I'm going to walk you through this, and it's really very straightforward stuff here, right? And you'll see that it's not a difficult solo at all. Okay, so here you go. You're going to start with a hammer-on the end of 4. So that's a pickup before the solo section actually begins. So it's 4 and up. And then play back at 3, go to 5 and bend up to 7. And then 5, bend up to 7. Hammer on. So. And then slide in. Now you'll notice the first time I did it with my second finger, and the second time I did it with my third finger. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. So the whole 2 bars is like this. So get that down before you do the next 2 bars. Take this in pieces and get it down, and you'll be glad you did, because then you don't have to go back and fix things if you do it right the first time and learn it correctly the first time. The second 2 bars, you're going to slide up to 7 on the 5th string, and those are 16ths. Whoops. Right? Now, that slide I just did with my third because I was going to stop there. But if I was going to continue, I'm actually going to slide up there with my second finger. And the reason is because of the next notes coming. And then I slide with my second finger again because of what's going on. All right, let me take that slow. So, take your time here and really pay attention to the count. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So if you need to count like that, do so. Now, the fourth measure. Really straightforward. You carry over this note into the second beat and then come in on, so it would be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and. So the second two measures. All right. Work on those two measures. After you've got the first two measures down, get the second two measures down and put it to a metronome, all of this. And then tie all four measures together. And you'll see, once you get this down, it's actually not difficult at all. And the other aspect is, since this is only at 76 beats a minute, all those 16th notes aren't as intimidating as they might be at a higher tempo, right? So get these four measures down before moving forward and put it to a metronome. Get it down so you got everything working the way it's supposed to work. Looking at measure number 5, you see we've got a little bit of an eclectic thing going on here, very atypical for George Harrison, but you know, he's experimenting and that's okay. So we start at 7 on the 5th string and then 8 on the 6th string. Whoops. Okay. And then we go to 7 on the 4th string, to 5, slide up to 9 on the 3rd string, and then come to 7, 5, hammer 7, second finger at 7 on 4, and then hammer on 5 to 7. Now it's important that you count this out because it is so eclectic. You need to make sure all your notes are happening precisely where they're supposed to happen. So you have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So you see in the second and third beats, you've got that note carried over from the second beat to the third beat 3, the first part of the third beat. And then you come back in on the E of the third beat, right? So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. And I purposely slowed that down so you see the timing, where the notes occur. Okay? So work on that, count it out. The 6th measure, we slide up to 9 after that hammer on in the first beat, or in the 4th beat, at the end of the 4th beat, 4 E and a, slide up with your second finger to 9, and then 8 on the second string, 10 to 8, pull off, 9 to 7 on the third string, slide to 5. Hold that over, and then on the E of 4, so it's 3 E and 4 E and up. So let me count through this measure so you see exactly what the timing needs to be because of held notes, right? 1 and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and up. Critical stuff here. Work it out, count it out. Then, once you've got this second measure together, put it together with the first measure. And again, pause anytime you need to in order to work things out and make sure you understand. You can also rewind and rewatch and listen to the explanation and hear how it's supposed to sound. So don't be afraid to stop, pause, and work parts out. Okay, now the seventh measure, we have another slide after the bit there at the end of the fourth beat on the sixth measure. So you slide up again with your second finger to 9 on the third string, go over to the first string at 8 with your first finger, second string 10 to 8, pull off. And then on the third beat, we're going to bend from 10 to 12 on the first string. And that's a very deliberate bend and release. And then second string 10, you play that, you don't pull it off. And you'll see the note carries over, and we'll get to that in a minute. So again, counting 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and up. So again, pause, get this measure down. The eighth measure, we're going to play the fourth beat of the seventh measure. 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3. So you see, just like we did in another measure, in the fifth measure, we're carrying a note over. You really want to pay attention because of the timing. You're coming back in on the E of 1 in the eighth measure. So again, the fourth beat of the seventh measure, 4 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3. So really pay attention to that. Then once you've got the eighth measure down, play the seventh and eighth measures together. And that's what you're going for. Once you get those two measures working, just as you got 5 and 6 working, put it all together, all 4 of these measures. And that's what you're going for. Once you have all of these 4 measures together, you know what comes next. When you listen to the solo in the singles version of the song Let It Be, you'll notice George Harrison is playing his part through a Leslie speaker cabinet. And it gets a nice warbly sound as a result. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to play the solo without the Leslie effect so that you can hear how beautiful this solo actually sounds all by itself in its pure form. All right, so take a listen. Couple things I want you to notice as you're learning and playing through this solo. The first is I want you to notice how Harrison employs slides in very specific places to help the flow to be smooth between the different bits within each phrase. And that's the other thing I want you to pay attention to. In this solo, which is just 8 bars long, George Harrison sets up his phrasing very deliberately, and they flow into one another. They build upon each other and feed off each other to create what I believe is actually a really nice solo. It gives you a good example of Harrison's style and approach to soloing as well. So pay attention to these things as you learn it and play through it. And I think you'll find there's a lot to be gained in understanding just how he goes about phrasing and how you can take advantage of this and start applying this idea in your playing as well. All right? Okay, that'll do for this lesson. Thank you very much for your time and attention. You take care of yourself, and until next time, what can I say? We'll see you then.